Beer?
Why not?
Bong? Can I get 5 pints?
What?
5 pints for me? Fuck, what are you gonna be having? Hi everyone, my name is Vikram and welcome to the first ever episode of Pints with Vik. I'm with my very good friend and client.
La última evolución para tener a...
Evolutions are insane.
That unbelievable finesse shots, left stick dribbling. It's got everything.
Park Jung Bin.
Park Jung Bin.
Park Jung Bin.
Park Jung Bin. And today we're going to be having some good conversations over a couple of pints. So, Jung Bin, we've known each other for some time now. And I've got to ask you, right? What made you decide to come to Cambodia?
First of all, I've been spending more than 12 years actually in Europe.
Yeah.
And coming to Cambodia was not an easy decision, but I knew deep inside that I had to come here. It was not easy to play in Europe, of course, because there are a lot of competition and as well as a lot of pressure from the others. But
100%.
Coming to Cambodia was kind of show myself again, and what I'm capable of. And I felt like coming to Visaka was the perfect decision for me. And I'm very happy that I actually made that decision,
No, I mean, I'm happy too, man. And cheers to that, bro. For those who don't know, Jung Bin has an illustrious career in Europe. He's played in the Bundesliga, the second Bundesliga. He's played in the Danish top flight, second tier in Denmark as well, the Swiss Super League, French League 2, and a stint in K1. A lot of Asian players, not just Korean players, but Asian players, would strive for a career like that, especially one in top flights in Europe. Thinking back, what are your thoughts about your time in Europe in general? How do you feel about them? What did you think? What challenges did you go through? Overall, how was that experience like?
Having to play in Europe for many years,
Yeah.
I think that has been probably one of the best experiences I ever had in my life as a player, because I gained a lot of extensive knowledge and experience, and also football culture. Football culture in Europe is everyone is striving and want to get to know more about the European culture and football culture especially. And I was lucky and fortunate enough to have all this experience, Not only just a little club, but a place like in Bundesliga. It was amazing.
It's a big club as well, right?
It's a really great experience for me, and especially my debut against the Bayern Munich. Probably this is one of the best things that ever happened to my life, because playing and having a experience and debut, especially against the Bayern Munich at Allianz Arena. This is something that every player's dreamed of.
100%. If you don't mind me asking, right, do you remember who was playing against you that day?
2013, January, 19th January, still remember. There was a player, Manuel Loya, he still plays actually today. And Philip Lam, and Dante, now who plays in Nice.
Still playing today,
yes.
yeah.
And Alaba, now he's
Real Madrid,
yes, Real Madrid. And Ribéry, the one of the top players from France.
Yeah.
And Toni Kroos, he was there together with the Schweinsteiger.
You played against Schweinsteiger,
I mean,
Lam, Alaba, Ribéry, Kroos.
Yeah. And Mandzukic, Thomas Müller.
Yo, that's an insane lineup.
I subbed in, I subbed in around 89, but still for 18 years old, and to share the pitch like this, I think this is you cannot ask more than that. I think I was the one of the youngest who debuted in the Bundesliga, so this is also another honor.
Yeah, that's fair, man. 18 years old.
I think after Sonny,
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
No, that is crazy.
Yeah, I still very thankful to this experience. Of course, back then my agent was different, but I appreciate to those people who helped me back then,
Of course.
Without them, it wouldn't be possible too,
No, for sure.
But you're my agent now.
Oh, man. Yo, just did that, bro.
Yeah.
So I have to ask you, right?
Yeah.
You've played against many top players. Who is the most famous person in your contact list right now?
I came across a lot of players actually.
Of course.
And there are many players that I would like to mention, but I would specifically like to mention Song Yong-ki, who is one of the legendary player for Korea. By the times I was playing in FC Seoul, I could see every day how he was influential to the other players and as well as the young players. And definitely that I learned a lot from him. not only like football side, but how he acts also like off the pitch, like how he get along well with the young players and how he has to act, you know, as a captain, you know. This was like priceless also seeing like from my side. Yeah.
Oh, makes sense. I mean, makes sense. Well, look, I'm not going to ask you to call him right now because I don't know what he's up to, man.
Yeah.
But if he's watching this video, you know, just know that Park loves you a lot and looks up to you. So, Jungbin, I think the one thing that is important to both of us, and I think it's very important to you is family, and especially for you is your wife. Based on what I understand, knowing you and your wife has followed you from Denmark over to Switzerland, to Korea, to France, and now to Cambodia, right? How important is it for family support?
I think this is the most important things, you know, because without family, we're nothing. And there's reason for me to protect my wife. And I'm very happy that she's actually very supportive. She always told me like, go for it and do what you love the most. And for your career is so short, I'll be there as long as I can, as long as you play. For sure. And therefore, I'm very grateful for the support that she gives me. And she's also a nutritionist, you know, and she's like studying.
I know.
Just to fit me well.
If you follow Jungbin or Sila's Instagram accounts, you'll be very envious of the kind of food that they eat because it's very healthy. It looks absolutely delicious, and you know for a fact that the guy is fed well, but fed right. I haven't been invited yet. I hope, you know, from now onwards, I get an invite whenever I come down. All right. But, you know, I'm just waiting for that invite to be like, hey, Vik, you want to come over to try the food? I'm like, I haven't got an invite yet, you know? So always like, Vik, let's go for a coffee or let's go for dinner outside. I'm like, all right, man. Okay, all right, you know. On that note, right, life in Cambodia. How has life in Cambodia been? I mean, it's a controversial question, mainly because I know in Korea right now, there's a lot of backlash. There's a lot of news on the negativity in Cambodia and whatnot, which is, you know, whatever happened. Maybe it happened, maybe it didn't. You know, I'm not here to question that. I think for me personally, I know the beauty of Cambodia. I know what it can present. But for you as a Korean living in Cambodia, how has your experience been?
From my experience,
your personal experience,
I think the best experience I have had here in Cambodia, something I cannot put in the word because I really do love Cambodia and I really do love people here, and in terms of like how nice they are, because I sort of had a bad times in Korea and France in a row.
I know,
but
I know
my times in Cambodia kind of like paid me back that kind of bad memories, and that's why I'm more grateful for Cambodians and as well as my experience here in Cambodia. And I'm kind of sad that Cambodia is like shown to be like kind of you know,
in
like
a negative light.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of misunderstanding. Of course, that part is like maybe something I don't know, but for my Cambodia, what I've experienced is the best. I cannot like ask more than what I'm having now.
No, 100%. You know, based on our experiences together, you know, they're very friendly people who love people, who try to assimilate, try to understand their culture. And I think you've done a really good job at that. You know, you always try to mix with your local teammates. You know, it's something we talk about as well. You know, it's one thing to mix with the foreigners. I think foreign players in Asia tend to stick with the foreigners. I think you're one of the few foreigners I know that always goes out of the way to be like, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that. You're a good player. And you bring them out for lunch, bring them out for dinner. You try your best to really do whatever you can to make them understand, you know, and you try to be their friend. It's not a show. For you, it's like, hey, this guy has potential. I'm going to try to help him. And I think, you know, that's something that you've been doing really well at, man.
Thank you for mentioning this. I think this comes with the experience,
right? Yeah.
Because if I had an experience, for example, France, or maybe Korea, and this wouldn't shape me the way I am now, the way how I like get along well with the local players.
Makes sense.
Because football is mostly like a team sports, right? Yeah. Like you have to harmony with the teams. And when I was young, I didn't care about any of this. But like with the times, with the experience I had over the past years, and I gain extensive knowledge, not
Yeah.
only just as a good player, but you have to be a good human being first.
100%.
This comes really like first, in my opinion. I mean, this is like they say, like football is all about business, but this kind of the impact you make on the people, this lasts, brother.
No,
And
for
this
sure.
lasts like for long term.
I think it's one thing that you mentioned to me when you first came to Cambodia. You said this, Vic, I am genuinely surprised.
Mm,
The level here is not bad.
mm,
They need to tweak certain things,
mm,
but the Khmer players can play. The talented ones,
mm.
they have potential.
Yeah.
And for me, as an agent, hearing that from you with your experience was like, okay, because Cambodia for us has always been a market before we targeted, right?
Yeah.
And hearing that from you has been like, wow, okay, that's great.
Yeah.
But then for you to, on your own accord, without any prompt from us, to go and help the academy, help the football school, help, future generations of Cambodian players to improve or to give them sense of hope and inspiration. Fair play to you, man. Cheers to that, bro. So I guess to wrap things up, one question I do have for you is, if you were to see a younger version of yourself in Korea, Cambodia, wherever, right? A young talent, what would you advise him? And unfiltered, all right? None of this work hard, no. Unfiltered. What would you give, brutally honest advice to that player?
Work on yourself and try to be happy where you are at.
Try to be happy where you're at. That's the first time I've heard of that. Yeah.
Instead of like seeking too much beyond, but try first work on yourself and try to find the happiness within you and within the area where you are at. Become the best version of yourself. Then the rest will come if you have the right place.
Was that something that you did when you were...
No, that's something I regret also.
Really?
Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, why?
I mean,
Or
I
what
always
happened?
like we also previously talked about it. Like I always like wanted to move faster and bigger, And you have to find the problem and the obstacle within you. It's always you, not the others. If that makes sense.
No, makes
Because
sense.
you will face the same problem again and again, whether you are there and there.
Makes sense. I mean, end of the day, like, you need to control what you can control and try to mitigate the impacts of what you can't control, right? And I guess to sort of wrap it up, all right, after a final cheers, I don't know how you're gonna finish this, Spark, but okay. So, one last question for the day. What's next?
Off to you, brother.
There you have it, I guess.